Good morning. My name is Gene Scott, and I'm really excited to be here today because we have a great opportunity. I have a friend of mine, Homer, and Homer's opening an ice cream shop. And he's asked us to make sure we don't miss anything when we put the requirements together so we can give those to the architects to put together their plan to build this. And so let's get started with some instructions on format. We're going to give each of you a colored Post-it note, and I'm going to note to you that Post-it notes have two sides, the front side and the back side. The back side is the sticky side. I want to ask that you learn the sticky side upwards so that when we put it on there, it'll be the writing will be appropriate. Now I'm also going to pass out to you a couple of large marker pens. Each of you will have one of these, and I'm going to ask you to use the large pens because we're going to be looking at those on our flip chart, and if you write in the big letters, then it's a lot easier for you to see at a distance. So I'm going to pass those out to you, and then we will ready to begin. I want you to take a few minutes and think about Homer's ice cream shop. So let's just start out with Homer's ice cream shop. Okay? What are the business requirements for Homer to open an ice cream shop? Now I think it's important for us to have a little definition of terms. A business objective or a business requirement we're looking at is something that has to occur before the service can begin. For example, in the case of Homer's ice cream, he has to be able to scoop ice cream. He has to be able to receive ice cream. Those are some things we might look at. If we look at something, for example, if you're going to feed a baby in a baby bottle, you have to fill the bottle with milk. So those are things we call those business requirements, things you do in order to do something else. So think just a moment of what are the business requirements, the things that Homer has to have in place before he can serve his first scoop of ice cream. And I'll give you just a few minutes to think about that. Write it down. Please, one word per notepad. That would be appropriate, I believe. Okay? Thank you. Okay, thank you so much for your hard work on that. I'm going to collect those up, and we'll do it in what we call a round robin style. And as we collect them, I'm going to call them out. Now, I'm not going to allow any discussion right now. We'll discuss those when we start putting them together into parts and places. But right now, I just want to look at them. Well, we have Joan here, and Joan says that we need scoops. Obviously, that's a very good thing to do. And Joan, let me ask if I can. Scoops is a little specific. Can I suggest that maybe you rewrite that a little bit and maybe come up with a term, a little more generic term, maybe something like servingware or utensils or something like that. Would you do that for us and rewrite that? Okay, great. Thanks. Thank you very much. Well, I'm going to go ahead and just replace your scoops with the servingware that you created for us, and we'll get started. Now, Bill says we need toppings, and I think that's very important. We have to have toppings. Now, why do we have toppings? Because the customer might want to put gummy bears or sprinkles or something of that nature on it. So we have to have some toppings. Okay, great. Now I'm going to see what Sally has. Sally says we need training. Boy, that's for sure. These folks, we want to make sure they know how to scoop the right scoop of ice cream with that. We want to make sure we give our customers the amount they want. Hot dogs. Okay, I think hot dogs would be very appropriate for this idea. We'll see about that. We need a cash register, John says. Well, John, the cash register, I think it's important that we have a cash register, but let me suggest to you that's a little specific because, you know, a cash register, we could run we could run a hot dog shop or an ice cream shop with a cigar box and change. So let me suggest, if you don't mind changing your requirement just a little bit, and maybe call something like a money processor, something of that, a little higher level, so that it'll cover all the possibilities of that. Okay, great, appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay, we'll just take and we'll replace our cash register with our money processor there. That's good. Thank you very much, Tom, for that. We need a health permit. Obviously, if we're going to be selling ice cream to the public, we have to have some kind of license to do that. So we have a health permit for sure that we're going to do. And we need employees. That's a good thought as well. So employees are important for us, and we'll have to decide who we want to hire and so forth. Someone says we need drinks. I think this was Albert. Albert says we need drinks of some sort there. Now I'm not sure, we'll have to talk about whether that's the the alcoholic brand or the regular brand, but I'm sure it's just the soft brand that Albert is talking about. Well, Sarah here says we need water. Water. We're going to need water to drink with the ice cream, but also we're going to need water to clean the utensils and the things we use. Simon here says we need cones. Cones. What? Yeah, we're going to need those cones to put the ice cream in, if you will, some kind of a cone. But let me suggest to you, cones may be a little bit specific because we may need waffle cones or sugar cones or cups or saucers or whatever. So let me suggest, if I can, if you would mind me just upping that a little bit to a higher level and maybe call it serving containers, something we put ice cream into. Would that be okay? Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much for that. And we'll go ahead and put that up here. Appreciate that allowing me to make those little changes. That helps later on when we start planning. We can plan for a lot of different things instead of just one specific thing. Boy, I love Holly here. She says we need ice cream. Obviously, we need ice cream to open an ice cream shop. So, very good. Well, thank you very much. I think we've gotten a lot of good information, and due to time, we're going to kind of move right on. But please continue to write and add, and we'll continue to collect as we go. Okay? So let's take a quick break, and when you come back, I'm going to have set this up to where we can start talking about those things and really understanding what they are and how they'll help Homer in his attempt to build his ice cream shop. So let's take a break and just cut the camera off, and we will take a quick break. Well, thank you for coming back so promptly to break. That was really important for us to get started so we don't waste our time with that. So let's go ahead and get started. Remember, like before break, we brainstormed, if you will, through a process called structured brainstorming. We brainstormed the various requirements for Homer to open his ice cream shop. And now I think it's important for us to understand what these requirements mean. Now, you'll notice that on the wall, I pasted some Post-it notes up there, and those Post-it notes have some things like risk, assumption, issues, definitions, kind of like a parking lot of things, so we can place those maybe questions on there, and outside the meeting, we'll try to run those to ground or at least find out what the answers are to those if they come up. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off with servingware, and I'm going to say, is servingware a requirement because of we call that a B requirement. That's a business requirement. That's something we must have to be able to open the ice cream shop. That's something required by law or by some kind of agency. We're going to have what we call C requirements. I'm going to call those customer requirements. Those are things we should have. Things we should have to be able to open the ice cream shop. Now, the last requirement we're going to have, we're going to call those B requirements, and those are requirements that we should have. I'm sorry, let me change the should here to maybe could. Okay, so we have B, things we must have. We have C, things that we could have if time and money allowed. And B are things we've got to have. We must have them to be able to open the door of the ice cream shop. So we have three levels of requirements here. One is a legal requirement, one is a business requirement, and then a client requirement. So we're going to just mark those up and kind of work through them here as we go. Well, first of all, we have servingware. And where do you think servingware goes? Is that a requirement by law or by an organization? Is it something we would like to have, that we could do without, but we might have to? Or is it something we have to be open our business? Well, obviously, the law says we can't scoop ice cream with our hands. So that's an important thing. But I think more importantly, it's going to be something we've got to have to be able to serve the ice cream. Of course, you could have an ice cream shop that just serves soft serve and wouldn't need any serving utensils, so like the yogurt shops now. So because of that, let's put it as a should or a B requirement for business. Ice cream, we're going to have ice cream. I'm going to call that business critical for us to be able to open the ice cream shop, if you will. Employees, I'm going to say we have to have employees to open this ice cream shop. But you know, when we look at employees, there's some legal aspects of that. Certain age requirements and things like that. So I'm going to say that employees is probably an R are regulatory requirements, because there's some things going to govern those that are outside of our control, but certainly we're going to have to comply with. Toppings, well, that's something we could open the ice cream shop without, but it might be a little difficult. But let's go ahead and place that as a C or a could, something we could have that would improve our effectiveness or efficiency, but not. We're going to need training. I think that's something we're going to have. I'm going to call that a should have, although we need to define what kind of training we're going to have. So on our parking lot over here, we've listed training, and that's something we'll have to do some work with. A health permit. Well, obviously we're going to have a health permit and so forth. I'm going to put that as a B requirement, R requirement, because that's something critical for us to open this process. We're going to need serving containers, the cups, the bowls, and so forth. I'm going to say that's something we probably must have, but I'm going to think it's something we should have. Kind of like our servingware, and I'm going to suggest that maybe serving containers and servingwares could be combined. Is that okay? And that way we'll get those. And I'm going to stagger those a little bit so we don't forget the serving utensils there. Water, I think that's probably going to be a regulatory requirement. We've got to have clean, a situation to clean our tools and our equipment, and water is what we're going to use for that. Drinks. Could we open an ice cream shop without any drinks, without a machine of cold drinks? I think we could. It would certainly help us in our profitability, but it's not something we could not open the doors with. We could offer maybe bottled drinks or something like that, but we don't have to have them to be able to open the door and serve ice cream. Certainly help. A money processor. Well, you know, if we're in a bank, that would certainly be an R, a regulatory requirement. If we were in a Walmart, that would be a B requirement, I think. If we're in an ice cream shop, or it might be a C requirement, but I'm going to say it's important for us to keep track of the money. So I'm going to say that's probably going to be a B requirement for us there. Okay, and our last one, we have hot dogs. Somebody would think we ought to have hot dogs there. That's good. We'll have to let Homer decide that. And Homer, what do you think? Do we need hot dogs? Are you going to have hot dogs as part of your program? And you're not? Okay. So you'd like to put that out of scope for right now? Okay, great. Thank you. We can do that. We're going to put this as out of scope. We're not going to forget about it. We're just going to hold it back. And after we get through the planning, if we see we have time or money to incorporate that, we'll pull that in and add it to it. So, great list. I think that's a real good start on us. Again, oh, thank you. I see we've had some other additions here. I'm going to take those up. In just a moment, we'll talk about where to put them and where they go and so forth. But for right now, let's go ahead. I'm looking at our clock, our time. Looks like we're about out of time for this segment. But really appreciate your help. You're working with us today to give Homer some ideas about what to do and how to do to make this ice cream shop successful. Thank you so very much for your time and certainly for your input. Great, great job. Thank you very much.